This day in sports history. This episode is brought to you by the Sterling Soap Company. Christmas will be here before you know it, and you know what would make a great stocking stuffer for everybody in your family? Sterling Soap. From bar soap to shave soap, beard balm to lip balm, aftershaves and lotions, Sterling Soap has something for everyone on your list. Check out their seasonal soaps that will complement the scents of your home this holiday season. And they're more than just soap. They also have a full line of coffee straight from the Sterling Roastery. Find their full line of products at sterlingsoapcompany.com. Hey there, it's the start of year 2 of This Day in Sports History. I'm your host, Steve White, and this podcast is part of the Sports History Network. You can find more podcasts and more info at sportshistorynetwork.com. It's November 30th, and on this day in 2013, it was the Kick Six. This was the 78th edition of the Iron Bowl, featuring the top-ranked and two-time defending national champion Alabama Crimson Tide versus number 4 Auburn. Alabama was a double-digit favorite in this, despite the fact that Auburn was a one-loss team and the game was being played at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Alabama took a 21-7 lead in the second quarter after T.J. Yeldon scored on a 1-yard run. The Tigers made it a 7-point game before the half ended on a Trey Mason 1-yard plunge and then tied it up early in the third quarter. This game came down to big plays. First, Alabama struck in the fourth quarter after an Auburn punt was downed inside the 1, their backs seemingly against the wall. Nick Saban did not call for a between-the-tackles run to get some breathing room. Instead, he called for a little out and up. Here's Vern Lundquist with the call for CBS that day.
Play action, McCarron, how about this decision? Going deep, Amari Cooper is there, has it, loose, down the right side, there are no flags, and that is a 99-yard touchdown, McCarron, Cooper, Alabama leads.
That made it 28-21 Alabama, and it stayed that way until the final minute. With 45 seconds left, the Tigers had a 1st and 10 at the Alabama 40. Auburn quarterback Nick Marshall had already run for 99 yards and a touchdown, so you can excuse an Alabama player for being wary of Marshall when he escaped the pocket. The play looked like a read option, and Marshall kept the football and sprinted to open space to his left, drawing the defenders towards him, leaving Sammy Coates all alone. Just before he crossed the line of scrimmage, Marshall threw the ball to Coates, who had nothing but green grass in front of him. Ball game tied again at 28. However, there were still 32 seconds left in the game. There was still time for a play or two, and with 7 seconds to go, a handoff to T.J. Yeldon picked up yardage inside Auburn territory down to the 38, where he was pushed out of bounds. The clock read triple zeros, but Saban argued that there was 1 second left. Replay officials confirmed that, giving Alabama the opportunity to kick a game-winning 56-yard field goal. Here's Auburn's play-by-play man, Rod Bramlett, with a call for the Auburn Sports Network that night.
Well, I guess if this thing comes up short, he can field it and run it out. All right, here we go. 56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Auburn wins. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl in the most unbelievable fashion you will ever see. I cannot believe it. 34-28.
The vibrations from Jordan-Hare during that play actually registered on state seismographs and were felt by the sensitive devices as far away as Huntsville, about 200 miles north of Auburn. It was another classic finish. And who knows, maybe another incredible game is on tap today in the 2024 edition of the Iron Bowl. And hey, you know who else is playing today in a rivalry game? Notre Dame is in Los Angeles against Southern Cal. Well, on this day back in 1974, Southern Cal staked Notre Dame 24 points and then went on an offensive tear for the ages. This was number 5 Notre Dame at the LA Coliseum against the 6th-ranked USC Trojans. The Irish looked like they were going to make this a snooze fest, taking a 24-0 lead in the second quarter. It may be cliché sometimes to talk about momentum swings, but in this instance, Big Mo definitely swung from the Irish to the Trojans when Pat Hayden found Anthony Davis for a 7-yard touchdown in the closing seconds of the half to put Southern Cal on the board. The PAT was blocked, leaving the score at 24-6 at the break. USC head coach John McKay was not a fiery, get-in-your-face kind of a coach, so there wasn't any screaming, no yelling, no paint-the-walls with colorful words kind of speech delivered at halftime. Instead, his message was simply, guys, you're better than that. Just relax, take a deep breath, and we need somebody to step up and do something. That calm, measured speech landed just right for Anthony Davis. The Trojans were set to get the opening kickoff of the second half, and he knew just what to do. Here's Keith Jackson with the call that day for ABC.
Here's the kick. McLaughlin knocks it high and deep. And Davis, 2 yards deep in the end zone, will bring it back. The wedge gets him to the 20. He breaks it at the 25. He's long gone at the 40. It's now a foot race, and here goes Anthony Davis for 102 yards and a touchdown.
The Trojans went for 2, but they came up a half yard short. But from that point on, everything went Southern Cal's way. Davis scored 2 more times on runs of 6 and 4 yards, and by that point, they had the lead. But they were not done scoring points. The coach's son, John McKay Jr., reeled in 2 Hayden passes and turned them into touchdowns, one from 18 and another from 44 yards. The Irish turned the ball over 4 times in the second half, and the Trojans took advantage of them. After a Notre Dame fumble, USC scored on the next play. And then Charles Phillips picked off a pass and returned it 58 yards for the pick six. Southern Cal won 55-24, and amazingly, all of their points were scored in just under 17 minutes of game time. Now, whether this was the impetus or it was part of the plan all along, Notre Dame coach Ara Parseghian resigned a few weeks later, sticking around to coach their Orange Bowl win against Alabama. Are you a hockey fan? Then you'll love Eric Zweig's new book, Hockey Hall of Fame True Stories 2. It's a treasure trove of untold tales, bizarre incidents, and captivating trivia that will leave even the most devoted puckhead astounded. The intense rivalries, epic showdowns, and historic clashes that shaped the NHL's early years, it's all in there. Zweig uncovers the true stories that helped shape the sport, ensuring that you will never look at hockey the same way again. Check out Hockey Hall of Fame True Stories 2 on Amazon or wherever fine books are sold. On this day in 1987, Bo met the Boz on the football field, and Bo won. Bo Jackson had been the top pick of the 1986 NFL Draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but after a pre-draft incident by the Bucs cost Bo the chance to play his senior baseball season at Auburn, well, he held a grudge against the Bucs and he refused to report to the team. So he ended up back in the NFL Draft in 1987. Now, by that point, Bo was enjoying playing professional baseball with the Kansas City Royals, and most teams were not willing to give a guy money to go play baseball into late September or October and then report to play football. So it was not until the 7th round of the 87 draft that Bo was taken by the LA Raiders. Brian Bosworth wanted to be a Raider. He felt his personality fit with Al Davis's team, but instead, since he still had college eligibility left, he was put in the June supplemental draft, and he was taken by the Seattle Seahawks, a team that he had expressly written a letter to instructing them not to draft him. Well, he wound up there anyway, signing the richest rookie contract in the NFL up to that point. Bosworth was a bit of a talker, and that's an understatement. And in the lead-up to this game on this day, he said he was going to shut down the explosive, electrifying Jackson, his fellow rookie. Bo preferred to do his talking with his legs. So on this night, the Raiders were in Seattle playing at the Kingdome on Monday Night Football. Early in the second quarter, Bo caught a touchdown pass from Mark Wilson to give the Raiders a 14-7 lead. On their next possession, LA was backed up to their 9-yard line. Now, the Raiders' backfield at this time was Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen. So really, no matter who you happened to give the ball to, you always felt like something good was going to happen. Here's Al Michaels with the call for ABC that day.
3rd down and 6 at the 9. And Bo Jackson to the 20 and out in front, and only one man to beat, and easily can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo, and nobody catches Bo. Touchdown.
He may not stop till Tacoma. He's gone.
Portland.
He just went by Spokane.
And there go the Raiders into final. What a scene.
Come on back, guys. Oh, he was flying.
So if you do not remember the end of that play and didn't pick it up from the commentary, Bo did not stop running full speed until he got well into the end zone, and his momentum carried him up the tunnel past the end zone. And one of the guys who had been chasing Bo but had been left in the dust was number 55, Brian Bosworth. But Bo was not done quite yet. His most iconic meeting with the Boz was still to come. In the third quarter, the Raiders were up 27-7, and LA was knocking on the door again. Now, the score sheet from that night simply reads Jackson 2-yard run. But this play was so much more than that. Here's Al Michaels again.
You can't wait till he leaves. 3rd and 1 from the 2. Here's Bo. And here goes Bo for the touchdown. He and Bosworth one-on-one, and Jackson just shoves him into the end zone.
I suggested a handicap of 18. How about 20 pounds? Watch the Boz. He plays it perfectly, flows to the football, meets Bo Jackson at the 2. Sorry, 220 beats 240 easily.
Bosworth got bulldozed by Bo, and there was a little extra involved, some pent-up aggression for all the talk about supposedly stopping him. There was no stopping Bo on this night. He racked up 221 rushing yards for a new Monday Night Football record to go along with his 3 touchdowns and 1 silent statement made. On this day in 1876, Yale and Princeton played the first collegiate football game on Thanksgiving. Watching and even playing football on Thanksgiving is a tradition for many families, and it got its start on this day 148 years ago. Now, it first must be noted that the traditional date of Thanksgiving being the 4th Thursday in November did not start until 1942, and prior to that, many dates were used. Yale and Princeton squared off in less than ideal conditions in Hoboken, New Jersey, in front of about 1,000 fans made up of interested locals and alumni of the two schools. It was cold and rainy, and the field was so hard that everybody that day walked away with bumps and bruises. The New York Times reported on the action that day, describing the ball used as an oval and made of leather, which was more likely a rugby ball, and the game resembled rugby more than a modern football game. Yale wore blue skullcaps, blue shirts and stockings, and white flannel pants. Princeton was decked out in their school colors of black and orange. After a while, the football game/rugby match devolved into what one journalist described as a Greco-Roman wrestling match. But one constant from then and now was the apparent use of trash talk. Well, the words are a little bit different today, with a reporter from the Daily Herald overhearing a Princeton lad say, "Just wait a while, and we will show these fellows something." Apparently, they never got around to showing those Yaleys something, though. Yale won 2-0, and that was 2 scores counted as a point each, not a safety. But the game was played as football on Thanksgiving, starting a tradition that carries on today. Later on in the 19th century, university teams from Kansas, Missouri, Michigan, and others also began playing football on the holiday. On this day in 2015, Kobe Bryant announced that he was retiring from basketball at the end of the season. It had been a difficult couple of years for Kobe. He'd torn his Achilles at the end of the 2013 season, rehabbed like crazy to get ready for the 2014 season, but he suffered a fracture of his left knee and only played 6 games before having to shut it down again. He came back for the 2015 season, but was limited to just 41 games. In his final year, Kobe played in 66 games and averaged 18 points. And in 1971, the movie Brian Song, detailing the friendship of Chicago Bears teammates Gale Sayers, played by Billy D. Williams, and Brian Piccolo, played by James Caan, premiered on ABC. And time now for today's Nothing to Do with Sports Fun Fact. The 1938 release of The Adventures of Robin Hood holds the distinction as the first color film. But there is a little bit of a disagreement in the film community if it truly was the first. A 1918 film called Cupid Rising is said by some to be the first true color film. It supposedly used alternating frames of red-orange and then blue-green in what's called a two-step process, a predecessor to the three-step process developed for Robin Hood, The Wizard of Oz, and Gone with the Wind. Unfortunately, though, no copy of Cupid Rising is known to still be in existence. That's it for today. I'll have more tomorrow on This Day in Sports History. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.